Hi, welcome back, and today we are going to look at reference table F. So this is my least favorite reference table. And the reason why this is my least favorite is because it's basically two reference tables in one. So notice I've already done some writing ahead of time, right? Because I'm keeping these videos to under 5 minutes. So what you need to do is these are solubility guidelines. So that means will something dissolve in water, because it says aqueous, right? Aqueous means with water. Or will something not dissolve in water? So this is basically two tables. We have the will dissolve, right? Soluble. And then we have our will not dissolve, insoluble side. All right, so these are solubility rules, basically. So it's a guideline. So if my rule, right, so this column right here is the rules. So if the rule says that it's soluble, it will dissolve in water. If there's no exception to the rule, right, that means it's soluble all the time, right? So then all of these, we're going to say always are going to be soluble. So no matter what this nitrate is with, it's going to be soluble. No matter everything in group 1, no matter what it's with, is going to be soluble, okay? So now down here, we have exceptions to the rule. So then that basically makes the rule the opposite. So if the rule is that halides, right, those are our group number 17 on our periodic table, are soluble, except, right, those are exceptions, when we're with silver, lead, or mercury, right? Sulfates are soluble, except if they're with silver, calcium, strontium, barium, or lead. So now let's go over to the other side, right? I did this squiggly line because they're basically two separate tables. Soluble table, insoluble table. Carbonates are insoluble. That's the rule. Unless it's with something in group 1 or ammonium, right? So this matches this rule to the left here, where if I have group 1, which sodium is in group 1, or ammonium, right, always soluble, right? So the rules piggyback off of each other. So basically what you're going to really be looking for, with the exception of group 1 or ammonium, all of the other ones are negatives, right? So those are the anions, right? So that's why I wrote down at the top listed, you want to do your anion. So let's do some of our examples. Okay, so calcium chloride. So I'm going to look at the negative, which is listed second. So I'm looking at this Cl. So I go over here, Cl. So chlorides are soluble unless it's with silver, lead, or mercury. Is calcium one of those three? No. So then I'm going to say this is soluble, ester soluble. Now let's look at mercury Roman numeral 2 bromide. Do I have to write out the formula? Well, not really. I see this negative bromide, that's Br. Okay, so bromide. Bromides are soluble unless it's with silver, lead, or what is Hg? If I'm not sure, I want to look at table S, right? That's mercury. So then bromides are soluble unless it's with one of those three. This is one of our exceptions. So this is not soluble. So I'm just going to put an X for not soluble. So now I have sodium nitrate. Sodium's right here and nitrate's right here. Always soluble. No exceptions. Now I've got magnesium and sulfate, SO4. So sulfates are soluble unless it's with one of these. Is this one of the exceptions? Is Mg listed? Nope. So then that is soluble. Now let's go over here, sodium hydroxide. Remember, I'm looking at the negative one first. Hydroxide is here. Hydroxides are not soluble unless it's combined with something in group 1, calcium, barium, strontium, or ammonium. Well, sodium is in group 1. You want to make sure you check your periodic table, right? Sodium right here, Na, is in group number 1. So then if this is not soluble, the exception makes it soluble. So potassium and sulfide. Careful, one letter different between sulfate and sulfide. So sulfides are not soluble unless it's combined with group 1 or ammonium. So I need to check if potassium is in group number 1. I check the periodic table, it's in group number 1, so that makes this soluble, right? Because the rule is insoluble, the exception will be soluble. So now I have iron Roman numeral 2 phosphate, that's our last one. Phosphates are not soluble unless it's with group 1 or NH4. Is that in group 1? No, insoluble. All right, so that wraps up our quick guide to table F.